Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Staying in Lagos, our home state. We rove all around the country, but I guess today we'll be staying in Lagos for our conversation, and it's about transportation in Lagos State. And when you want to talk transportation, you could do a lot worse than look for the head of the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, much more better known as LAMATA, not the very long Turenshi grammar. And the managing director is Engineer Mrs. Abimbola Akin. I'm always, the last part of it.
Akin Ajo.
Ajo, thank you very much, because somebody told me Akin Ajo with full confidence. Akin Ajo. A very fine morning to you, and welcome.
Good morning to you.
Clearly, you're very busy. Recently, you launched part of what we want to talk about. I say part because it's it's almost like a behemoth, the whole transportation network. But one thing that has caught our eyes is the FLM, first and last mile. And so I thought we could look at that, and so happy that you could find time in your busy schedule to come along and talk with us about it. Now, it's been launched by the governor. I see news reports say that something around 500 buses combined for the first and last mile.
So for the first phase, yes.
For the first phase.
For the very first phase, we're launching with 500 buses. And that's what the first and last mile scheme is. It's about what we describe it as. It's the lowest layer of the bus reform initiative that the state has been implementing for a while. So the first and last mile bus scheme, according to our studies and our plan, we're looking to deploy at least 5,000 buses in Lagos over time. Over time. But the very first phase of it is the deployment of 500 buses over 7 zones of Lagos. So what I say is that in Lagos State, we have divided Lagos State into 8 zones. Zone 1 is Ikeja and K2. Zone 2 is Oshodi, Mushin, Surulere, Aguda. Zone 3 is Yaba, Oworo, Ojodu, those areas. Zone 4 is Lagos Island, Etiosa, Victoria Island, Aja. Zone 5 is Agege, Ogba, Iyano Ipaja. And Zone 6 is Mile 2, Apapa, Ajeromi, and Iyano Iba. Zone 7 is Ikorodu, and Zone 8 is Ekpe and Badagry. And
as you said, since the objective is around 5,000 buses in time, starting off with 500, even as you have itemized those areas, will the 500 buses will be distributed to all of those, will be allocated to all of those places?
So we're going to start with about 6 zones.
With about 6 zones.
Yes, we will start with about 6 zones, and those zones encompass the areas that Okada and Keke Napeps have been banned already. So, and it's a vision of Mr. Governor to ensure that we bring an alternative to the people, which is what this is supposed to be. So the first and last mile scheme is the scheme that is closest to the people, closest to the community. We call it the first and last mile. Somebody asked me the other day, why first and last? It actually encompasses your first mile of journey and your last mile of journey. So it's the buses that will take you closest to your origin or your destination. And the way we say it, it is the scheme that will ensure we have connectivity. Now, the whole of Lagos State, we're driving towards this intermodal integrated transportation system. So the first and last mile will be that bus that you will get onto the minute you walk out to your house, walk 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes max, you get onto this bus. And these buses will not travel any longer than 5 kilometers roundabouts. And what they will do is get you to a main bus terminal, a ferry terminal, a BRT bus station, or even the rail station when the rails come into play. So they ensure that you have access to all these major transportation opportunities that are there in Lagos. And
so that's the, well, it depends. If, going out is like your first mile.
Coming in is your last mile.
It's your last mile.
Hence the name. First and last mile.
First and last mile. And the sizes of the buses, they're very small. They're like micro buses.
There are many buses.
On purpose.
Yes, it was deliberate because obviously we need those buses to be small enough to navigate the inner roads of the communities. And we also acknowledge the fact that you are not, at that point in time, it's not about mass transportation. It's about ease to get to the mass transportation locations. So the buses will be capacity of 7 to 11 passengers, and that's what they will do.
Yeah, and it's similar, it seems to me, to like some of the things that some private estates have,
Yes.
where there are buses dedicated exclusively to the use of the residents of that estate, and
So exactly,
something very high.
something similar.
Okay. Now, part of it also is the replacement of some buses that were lost to the protest, or is that a totally different?
That's a totally different one, because on the same day, Mr. Governor launched 100 new high-capacity buses, and that is part of the replacement, because most of our buses that were burnt were the high-capacity and the medium-capacity ones.
But this scheme, this, dare I say, revolutionary scheme in Lagos, because it totally transforms the way people look at transport. It reminds one of, you know, places outside of the country where that is indeed, you know, you walk a very short distance, you are assisted in a certain way, and then if you, for the long haul, maybe you can just connect up. Now, how is it, the other thing that I'm hearing about is payment. How do you pay your fare? There's something called a cowrie card.
Correct.
What exactly is a cowrie card?
Okay, so in August of last year, Mr. Governor launched a new payment system for transportation in Lagos. Now, I talked earlier about the bus reform initiative. The bus reform initiative is about driving our public transportation system from an unregulated, informal sector or unregulated framework toward a regulated framework system. And that means we have these three tiers of bus transportation, and it's backed by technology, and that's intelligent traffic systems or transportation systems, and that includes e-ticketing. So in August, we launched the cowrie card, and that means that every regulated bus that we run in Lagos now, you can't pay with cash. You will use the card, you will tap in, and if it's a high-capacity bus, you will have to tap out. But on these buses, you only have one validator and you tap in. So the payment on these buses will not be by cash. It will be via that cowrie card. So every passenger is encouraged to get your cowrie card, and you load it with any of the agents that are loading it up. And anywhere you go, so you come off this last mile bus, you tap and you go. You get onto a BRT bus, the same card will take you so long as you've got money on it. So that's what the cowrie card system is.
It gets rid of the, well, maybe I shouldn't have said get rid of, but it's, a conductor is not necessary anymore.
So on these buses, we don't have conductors.
You don't need conductors.
No, we don't.
And apart from that, I can just see the ease, it's much more orderly, and you can do a lot better accounting and that kind of a thing. The idea suggests to me that you might even have the equivalent of season tickets elsewhere. That is to say, you could have that cowrie card as a legation that knows that that's going to be your primary mode of transport for a month. Yes,
you can. You can put as much money as you want on it, and it will always be there until you exhaust it. It's one of the things that we're going to head toward, the ability to give some level of discount just for being a seasoned traveler. So a season ticket, or being able to say, by the time you've used so much in a day, you can say that that's the maximum amount you will pay for transportation. But we're not there yet. It's work in progress.
Now, this FLM, first and last mile scheme, has been launched already.
Yes, it has been
launched. But will actually be operational
from Monday.
From Monday.
We will be operational from Monday.
And if anybody, which is what is expected, they want people to use them. If you're going to, it's not what we've been used to. You can't just have change in your pocket. You're going to have to, your fare will be paid via your cowrie card.
That's correct.
So anybody who's going to be a passenger on Monday has to have, how easy is it to get the cowrie card?
Okay, so a lot of our bus stations, literally all of our bus stations have them. And what we're doing from like a week or so ago, we've been putting out carry card agents in sort of like little shops around the corners. So
okay.
you can go and they will have banners that will say, buy your carry card from here. And they will be able to also top you up. So when you get there, you have to register because, like you say, you mentioned something now, data. We're trying to capture data because that allows us to plan and be able to deliver good service to the people of Lagos. So we will have all those outlets that you can go and buy the ticket apart from our bus stops and apart from our bus terminals. So you can buy a card. A card will be, there's a smaller card that's like 200 naira, and there's a proper full plastic card that's 400 naira.
Okay.
And that will be yours for as long as you need to. You don't have to replace that card. And once you've got it, you can load on it however much money you want to load on it, and you will use it to travel.
And what's the system called? The portal? What's it called that the governor approved that enables the this to happen? The carry card.
So it's an e-ticketing portal.
Okay, because again, I noticed that some petrol stations have a similar idea where they say you can load a card and you can use it to buy fuel. But the difference with theirs is that you have alternatives. You could pay either cash or that. But here, the only way you'll be able to pay to go from wherever it is available to wherever you want to go is to have that card. And it's, from what you're saying, it's going to be relatively easy. The idea might not, but everybody has to know that you either can buy one that you can use, or you have the bigger one, which you said is the 400 naira one that you can be loading.
They're both the same. Yeah, they're both the same.
But you can load them. Is it a one-time use?
No. Both of them you can load. It's just that one card is a bit more durable than the other.
Okay. And the whatever the machine is that they press it against can discount it accurately, depending on where you're going.
It doesn't matter.
Or is it a flat rate?
It's for the first and last mile. It's a flat rate.
Oh, okay.
Because the journeys are short. Okay. And they're predetermined. So you know that if I'm going from, I don't know, from Falomo, for instance, to Awolowo Road, and I know that that is the route that the bus is taking, so there is a charge for that route, and anybody that gets onto it will pay that charge.
They also will be able to take advantage of the BRT lanes, or?
No.
Okay, no.
No, these will travel in mixed traffic.
Oh, okay.
Because they're not supposed to go that far anyway.
Okay,
they're supposed to do short journeys
so
and get you to a BRT stop, but not get onto a BRT route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, with a scheme like this, the maintenance is going to be crucial. And I was reading that Lagos has been thinking about that as well. Something called the OEM, Original Equipment Manufacturer garages. Is it garage or garages? In short,
what we will have, one of the things we've done with these buses, we have actually ensured that the manufacturers come to Lagos and they couple them together in Lagos. So they are completely knocked down. They came into Nigeria completely knocked down, and they were...
what was their country of origin?
China.
Okay.
So the buses were from China, and they were built in Lagos. Now, one of the agreements that we've had with the OEM is to ensure that they set up maintenance yard in at least each of the zones that I've spoken about will have a major maintenance yard, and then they will have satellite ones. They can partner with existing mechanics. They will train them and make sure that they can provide service to the standard that is required to maintain the vehicles. Now, what we've agreed with the operators is that they must maintain their vehicles in accordance with the requirements of the OEM to ensure the longevity of the lives of the buses. So maintenance is also an agreement that we've gone to with the OEM as well as the operator, and everybody understands what we're supposed to do.
And I'm sure people who understand the OEM, meaning Original Equipment Manufacturer. And then I was also reading that Lagos has this agreement where they will be transferring technology, the OEM, the garage operators, transferring technology to our people?
So the OEM has the understanding and the know-how of how their systems work, and when they partner with the local mechanics, that's exactly what they will do. They will train them and make them able and capable to maintain those buses. So yes, there will be transfer of technology in that sense.
Now, when it comes to the operators, because that is where you might, you can imagine a problem might come about that, you know, what am I going to do about my livelihood and that kind of a thing in the old system. These operators, I understand that you're cooperating, or shall we say you're partnering with transport unions, private sector. So they are fully bought in. And do we have a situation where transport unions actually could also be an owner of part owner?
So maybe we should explain the scheme, how to get onto it.
Sure.
So we have 500 buses for now, we're going to 5,000. But the understanding is the state will not run the buses.
Okay.
So we will help private sector to procure those buses. So we have agreements with the OEM as well as financial institutions to be able to provide financial assistance to those who want to get onto the scheme. So if you want to come on, like you rightly say, we're partnering with the NURTW, RITIA, and all the transport unions, and any private sector individual or corporation or cooperative that wants to work with us. And what you then do, first of all, you must have your 20%, that's your down payment. You come onto the scheme, we ensure that all the things that you need to have, you must have a depot, you must have trained drivers, because all of our drivers must be trained. In all of that, with your 20%, we assist you to get a loan to buy the bus. And over the next 3 years, you will pay for it with the proceeds of the passengers that come onto your system. So really and truly, we have done sensitization, we have gone all around Lagos, and the union have been with us. We have spoken to their own members to let them be aware that there is opportunity to get onto this scheme. Now for us, it's a way, like I said before, the bus reform initiative is about bringing public transportation under a regulated framework. Now, this is a way for them to understand that regulation is actually a good thing. It is fantastic for the people of Lagos, and it will be good for them as well.
You know, when you say sharing is no doubt, because it seems to me, at least, that this sort of douses whatever tension might have existed, because it's plain, let's all do it together, and we are not doing it, that is, as government, we're not operating it, we're enabling it and all of that. But you did say that since currency, cash doesn't change hands, whoever the owner is the same way of payment. Does it go to a central pool then, and records show what everybody has earned and deserves, and that is paid to him later?
So the e-ticketing system, we've been running it very successfully for the past 9-10 months, since August. And we've been running it with the BRT and the big standard buses that you see. So what happens is, at the end, every operator has a unique ID. And when you tap on that validator, we know where you have, who owns that bus and where you have come onto. So we can see all of that. And all of that information will then go towards settling. So at the end of every day, we settle everybody.
It's a daily?
It's a daily settlement.
Okay, it's a daily settlement.
It's a daily settlement.
Okay, so investors, principals, or whatever, they can see on their system what's happening.
And whoever partners with us, they can get to see as they earn their money. So they have a portal that they can log into and see how many people have actually ridden on their buses. So they have the information. We in LAMATA, we have the information. And that's how come we've been very successful with it, with the ones who we're working with at the moment. Everybody's happy. And they know exactly how much they're expecting at the end of the day. And if they don't get it, we will hear it. Okay. And usually they do. And
even these cards, I imagine, are going to be transferable. That is to say, if somebody doesn't live in Lagos, but you do have people who live in Lagos, and you're coming, by way of courtesy, you might hand them a few of those cards. Can it work like that?
So long as only one person can use a card.
Yes.
When it's at a time.
Yes.
So if you choose to give your card to someone else, that's your prerogative.
And if there happen to be 3 or 4 in your party, it won't work for the other 3.
It is one person can only tap on a card.
Okay.
So if you want to entertain more than one, you have to buy more than one.
Okay, so I know there's a list of all the things that gave rise to fresh thinking in relation to how to move us around Lagos. Okay, I think that was where the government was.
That was a security meeting they had.
Okay, and these are all part of it. There are all sorts of facts and figures and statistics that were also put out, but I thought we might just limit this to the operational aspect that is happening on Monday, where everybody can now actually begin to ride differently, much more conveniently in Lagos. and that's just around the corner. So everything is prepared now? Sorry. I'm sorry, something distracted me. So on the screen there, we have those things that really, if you want to go to the remote causes, if you want, of where we are at today in the whole modernization of our transport architecture and system, these are some of the ills that needed to be addressed, and they've been long-standing ills. So can you tell me about the security aspect of this, especially as we're hearing worrying stories that there are traffic robberies when there's gridlock and that kind of a thing?
The one thing we know that I would say about the buses that are coming out is the fact that they're tracked.
Okay.
So the issue of somebody getting in a bus and then the bus driving them away, we know where those buses are at any point in time. We can always tell where the buses are. And if something happens to you, we're inserting cameras in those buses and we're able to download the information. Now, the third thing is, if you tell me which bus, so if you look at the numbers, the numbering system they're quite unique. Just taking a picture of that plate number tells me exactly what bus that is and who owns that, who is the operator that owns that.
Okay.
The mere fact that I am able to tell where the buses are at any time within my office speaks to the fact that you cannot be kidnapped in those buses.
Yes.
So there's so many things we've put in place to try and ensure that the people who get on those buses are safe. But I also say, be aware of yourself all of the time and be certain to take pictures of the bus that you're on. The buses apart from their plate number, they also have unique numbers on the buses. Those two things will help us identify exactly who was driving the bus at the time. Because
I was going to go there. Is it the owner alone that you know, or do you happen to know the driver as well?
So the drivers are logged and we know who they are. So the operator must tell us who their drivers are, and part of the plans that we've put in place is for them to be trained. So all of the biometrics of their drivers are taken and they're logged with LASRI. They've gone to LASRI for training, and they themselves, we have a database now that we're collating the drivers that are working with these regulated bus transportation systems. So we know who they are, and we're able to say, this particular driver did this terrible thing on that day, and we need him sanctioned or taken off.
Hopefully with all the training, there will be very, very little of that.
Yes,
but should it become necessary, what you're saying is that you have the means, using technology, using data collection and deployment, there are no anonymous drivers anymore.
No, there won't be. So long as they're on our regulated bus transportation system, we can fish them out.
Now, this is one aspect of it because it's integrated. There are other aspects to transportation, and could you say how this would begin to, as it were, if one had the concept of a ripple, how would it ripple and impact the other layers in Lagos, even if it is not all operational right now?
Okay, so like I said, it's the lowest layer for the bus reform initiative, and that's the one of its key responsibilities or reasons why we have it is to ensure connectivity.
Okay.
So that means that these buses will help give access to most of Lagosians, the big terminals, the bus BRT routes, the ferries, for instance. So in Ikorodu, for instance, they have about 4 jetties. And some of them will say, oh, it's about 7.5 kilometers to the jetty. How do I get there? Now we're deploying buses in those areas to ensure that people are moved from their communities toward those ferries so that they can utilize them. And it's the same thing for the BRT routes. And it will be the same thing for the rail stations when they come. That these will ensure that we can move our people from wherever they are to the first layer of a bus terminal, a train terminal, a jetty, water ferry terminal.
The success of this, it occurs to me, is going to also depend on the conditions of the roads that this, armada of buses and all of that will have to. But we'll come to that. Mazi Okorafo, he's called in, a regular viewer. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Thank you very much for calling in. Please continue.
This issue of our transportation system. I've discovered that in Nigeria today, we still lack this issue of maintenance culture and stability. We are good, we start a project, before it talks about things to be some issues. Now, what is your plan or the ministry plan to make sure that all these previous issues that normally affect Nigerian projects will not affect what is on the roadmap we have now on your table? I'm asking this question because it's very, very good for us to plan the just analyzing. But the question is the continuity that even the next issue or the president is for the continuity so that this will be moving. Because you know how much the ministry is invested. And you know what you have as your own budget and what you get and what the ministry will just get as the society, not only the state, anybody within the environment that will get. Because I'm always very happy with the new project for the question what have you done on ground so that it should not move forward. Thank you very much. We pray that what you are just analyzing now will be permanent.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much. I first of all thought you were talking about maintenance, but I saw that it's a bit wider than that. You want to know about the sustainability of this.
Okay, so the question that was asked about maintenance, and I think I alluded to that earlier. We have a maintenance regime that has been designed for those buses, and the operators who will be working with them have signed up to ensure that that is the case. In fact, we collect that money from them upfront, from their earnings, so that it is not a matter of I couldn't pay for my maintenance. As part of the earnings, those are part of the deductions we make on a daily basis, and we pay to the
and it's pre-agreed.
It's pre-agreed with the operators, and they know
that. This is how it rolls.
And that's, everybody has understood what it's going to cost, and they have signed up to it. And so we'll take that money and we pay. So it won't be a matter that the operator suddenly decides, you know what, I'm not doing this.
It's almost, maybe something of a very distant cousin of an insurance scheme. So it's like the maintenance is you insured against default.
Yes.
Because there's no question about when it's necessary, you go and you do it.
You have to do it.
You have to do it because you've been paying for it daily.
Exactly. So you are not having to bring the money out. You have already paid. So you just know when you have to drive your car to go and be maintained.
Okay. Seems so very well organized. We were talking about this and you were explaining how this being the bottom of the pyramid, so to speak, it can take you to others. And then speaking about that, the ferry system, came into the conversation. That's also another important place to sort of, that will be impacting the people, the ferry systems, because we have many more ferries now. How many ferries do you intend to have? What do you have now, about 17 or something like that?
There is about 16. Just to say that ferry systems don't come under LAMATA. They come under LAZWA, but there's 16, and I know that it is still transportation, and that's why I will speak to it. I know that they have gotten about 6 new ferries that will be launched, so there will be up to 21 ferries that will be running the waters of Lagos under regulated systems with Lag Ferry. Okay.
And because jetties are coming up, I understand.
They're building more and more jetties. There are about 12 jetties that are in construction, and as they come, they will be rolled out.
Now, we're talking about FLM, first and last mile, and that's the little brothers, the microbuses that are coming into the scheme.
Yes.
But it's also, as we were talking about them, we're talking about the, shall we say, standard buses, the high-capacity buses. So they can take up to how many passengers? The high-capacity buses?
The high-capacity buses can take up to 70.
Up to 70.
Up to 70.
Not all of them sitting, of course.
Not all of them sitting. Okay. So usually
but
it's about 42
and the rate is the same.
And
whether you're sitting, whether you're not
sitting or you're standing.
It's just a matter of your luck. First come, first serve. If there's a seat, you take it.
You take it.
Okay.
Yes.
So about 70 odd.
Yes.
And you said this is anywhere from 5 to 11, the microbuses.
The microbuses, it's from 7 to 11. We have a few 7, and I don't think there'll be more than 300. After that, all of them will be 11-seater buses.
Okay. All right, now we'll take a break now. We'll come back and continue with this interesting conversation, at least it is to me. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Adidoja.
Welcome back. Still chatting with engineer Abimbola Akinjo. I got it right. Managing Director of Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority. Quite a mouthful. No wonder Lagosians don't grab hold of LAMATA. The new scheme in Lagos, transportation, first and last mile, is what we've been talking about from the top of the program. It will be launched. Well, it has been launched, but will be fully operational from Monday. So it's a different thing. But when I say it's a different thing, it keys into what Lagosians are already experiencing in the way they pay for these buses. It's not going to be very different from what they're already experiencing with the BRT buses. Now, and by the way, could I just say, you can call in now, just in case. You can call in now. Normally, we would put it there on the bottom of your screen, but if you know the number, you can call in. I think it is 0708 066 and then 8015. I just say it one more time, 0708 066 and then 8015, 8015. Now, let's look at because it seems to me there must be an empowerment aspect to this whole operation. That is, people will be empowered more than before as far as the transportation system is concerned. Yeah,
and that really is a vision of the state government. The governor's position is that we need to ensure that our people work with us in this. It's a partnership that works, and the empowerment actually starts even from the coupling of the buses together, from the manufacturing. Like I said, they're coming completely knocked down, and they're setting up manufacturing yards that have employed and trained Nigerians to do the fitting of these buses. So that in itself is ensuring we have employment to our people, all the way down to selling the cards. All of those, we work with the private sector. But majorly, the implementation of the FLM scheme is with the private sector. The state is not going to run the buses at all. So the private sector will come and partner with LAMATA. All you need is 20%. And the state has negotiated a financial assistance of no more than 10% interest rate to repay over 3 years. And that in itself is a form of empowerment for the people who want to enter the transportation business. It's an easy way into the transportation business. The ones who are in it, they can come and partner with us. The ones who are thinking of getting into it, they can come and partner with us. There's 5,000 buses that will be available, and we will not be running a single one by, there's no government agency that will run any of it. It will be the people of Lagos that will come and work with us. All you need to have is 20% of the cost of the bus.
And when a person does satisfy all of these conditions and all that kind of a thing, it's part of a system. If I were an investor and I'm on there now, the buses, it's not as if I can park them in front of my house. No, it doesn't work like that. It's not that I could. So, and I just wanted to tell you about that number again. I understand that one I used wasn't the best one. There's another one, 0902 416 3440. I'll just say it again, 0902 416 3440. So you were saying, no, don't go and start building a garage. It's not going to work like that. Just because you've invested, you're not taking any of those FLM buses to be parking your private garage.
No. So what we do with them, when the operators come and work with us, we take them through a number of things. And one of it is exactly what you just asked. Where are you going to park the buses? So we have to go and inspect that depot and be certain that the depot is well located, is not going to cause a nuisance to the people who live in the area, and can contain the number of buses that you have applied to work with. And all the people that have come forward thus far, those are the ways that we have worked with them. And that's the way we will continue to work, because we want to ensure that we take away the buses being parked on the streets. That is the long-term vision of Lagos. Okay. That we will ensure that our buses are parked in proper designated bus terminals or bus laybys.
Because in the old days, I don't know if I referred to that, I'm talking about the days of the Mulue transportation in Lagos. What you just said, buses parked along some streets. They just don't have anywhere else to put them. And so they park them on the public highway, agreed on the side, and that's that. So that's going to become a thing of the past.
That will become a thing of the past, because every operator must have where to park his buses at the end of the day. Yes.
And okay, it might seem as if I'm concentrating a bit on the investment part of the thing, which is, I imagine there are people who are going to be interested in that out there. We'll come back to the passenger side of the story. But I was wondering, what about the guy who can't afford, he thinks he can start small with one.
Okay.
So what would be his situation with this depot and parking?
So when they come to us and you have only one, we at LAMATA will not deal with you directly, but we will put you with another operator. So we acknowledge the fact that some people just want to be a part of this, but they can't afford to be big. And so what we have identified are bigger operators, and we feed them, or sometimes we merge them together. So you come with 5, you come with 10, you come with 3, and we can say, okay, all of you join together. What we are trying to get are modules of 50, minimum of 50. So they also, at this point, everybody needs to learn to work together as a team. So when we have identified a number that makes up a minimum of 50, you can all become a cooperative of some sort, and you will liaise with LAMATA. But we can help an individual who wants to do that. When they come to us, we will help them find other people to merge with.
Okay. Going back to the passenger side of town, because I imagine there are a lot more passengers are watching out there than potential investors. Might just be, maybe I didn't get that particularly right. But the fact is that too, the commuter in Lagos now has a totally different option. You've explained it. Walks a very short distance from his house to link into this. Okay, let me interrupt myself because Kelvin in the UK just called in. Good morning, Kelvin.
Well, good morning, Monku Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I'm really happy for this.
For Lagos State.
Going on in Lagos State.
Okay.
I'm very, very happy, very delighted with what the government is doing. But I would like to ask, how much is the total sum of the bus? How much will be the
total investment
of the paid at the end?
Okay, but you did hear that you have to bring 20%, so it's a legitimate question.
Yes.
20% of what?
20% of what? Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Kelvin. Now, the investors have come on board again.
20%, the maximum price of bus we have now is 5.5 million, and that in itself is a good price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you say so. I mean,
it is, because we have...
Because how will you come and say, that's not a very good price?
I know, it is a good price. Because we've looked around and we shopped around and we negotiated.
And every bus that is coming out is tier rubber.
Brand new.
Brand new.
Exactly.
Because in case there were non-Nigerians listening.
Yes, definitely.
Exactly. So all of them are brand new. All of them, they're going to be serviced by OEM established garages,
That's
OEM
correct.
personnel. So it's like, they're specialists on this. It's like, almost like, yeah, to the extent that one engine is the same as another, but these guys know these machines.
They know those buses because they're the ones who put it together. And they're the ones who will train even the local mechanics that will work with them. So yes.
And it's maybe it's the investor that's a bit more interested in that, but it does seem to me that there will hardly ever be a shortage of parts, all of the things being equal, because the whole buses came in CKD.
That's correct.
And stocking, that clearly is a thing that you would have studied and you would have taken care of.
Yeah, and that's part of what we've said to the OEMs. You must make sure that your parts are available, and ensuring that, and that's why we've allowed them to be the ones to set up the maintenance schemes. They've worked with LAMATA to understand the areas, to understand, and with Ministry of Transportation, because all the mechanics that we have, they reside with the Ministry of Transportation, so they can ensure that they pick up local mechanics and train them. Where a zone is large, there will be mobile mechanics that will work with them and move around the operators to ensure that everybody gets serviced.
Now, coming to the commuter now, we know ourselves, we know how we are, we know how we do. And I'm asking this in relation to I might not be traveling light. I might travel the way I'm traveling. But I must also be traveling and there's a bag of, somebody from the farm delivered that whole sack of ewedu. It's going. I need to get my sack of ewedu, my sack of pepper out there. As you see on current modes of transport, how is this in relation to that kind of a thing?
Okay. First of all, what we see currently is not safe. When you see the sack of potato is almost as long, behind the bus is almost as long as the entire length of it. In no way, shape or form, in any thought that we can think that is a safe way to drive. So we would not encourage any of our drivers to do that. Whatever you can carry in your trunk is what the buses must carry. We can never be encouraging that, and it's not right.
Okay.
And that,
so you have to have a situation where you must limit yourself to only the cargo that can fit into your trunk and close it.
And close it.
And close it, because
exactly.
And you close it. That's what is going to be expected.
That is what is expected.
So it's like,
and we have to train ourselves to do things differently. There's nothing wrong with transporting your goods, but just use the right mode.
Yeah.
So if you must transport your goods, then transport it properly. And don't become a safety problem to everybody else on the road.
Okay, because again, especially in some areas of Lagos, it is not an unseen sight to see one of those three-wheelers with a mattress on top of it, because somebody hired it. Say, how much is it? I'm hiring it for the day. I'm imagining that kind of a thing will not be on.
No. I mean, if you looked at it now and said that if you wanted to transport that, why don't you get a van that actually fits and we need to begin to teach ourselves that.
Exactly. It's part of the orientation we have, and it's a cost thing as well. If the cost was the same, I imagine most of our Mami markets will be using them. But because there's a differential, she or he now begins to negotiate with the driver, say, how about don't pick up any passengers? I will pay for everything and I'll load it the way I want. That kind of, these are things that people do. I just was wondering if, no, that's not the way this one works.
That's really and truly, that's not the way we envisage it to work. If you want to move your stuff, and we will encourage you to get the right vehicle for it. Okay.
So I guess the short answer to this is no. We don't expect all of that.
No.
Little gizmo, technical glitch, you couldn't see the number on the screen, but it is for the Nigerian code if you're calling from outside. As Kelvin did, the +234, and then after that it's the 902-416-3440. And if you're calling in Nigeria, it's just 0902-416-3440. So exciting days ahead. This is going to last from Monday as something of a pilot scheme. I'm not sure you're not even calling it that, but for how long before we now know? Because I was reading somewhere that the governor and the whole team here will know what exactly to do. Shall it be an absolute ban on motorcycles and tricycles as modes of transport in Lagos, or if some kind of a compromise is still going to be reached? One moment, please. Mr. Adebayo just called in. Good morning, Mr. Adebayo.
Good morning.
Mr. Adebayo in Ireland. Good morning. Good morning. Mr. Adebayo.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on. You're on television now.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead quickly, please.
Yeah. We just want to know, some of us that are in the diaspora. Yes, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Please continue.
Okay. We just want to know how to contact the engineer there. Some of us that have interest in that business.
Okay. That have interest in that business, and you're speaking because you're in diaspora. Okay, you might want to check the LAMATA website. There's nothing you need that you won't find on the LAMATA website. Let me just confirm that with Mrs. Akinaju.
That's correct. Our website will have all the contact numbers that you require, so you can get in touch with us via mail or even telephone.
Okay,
yes.
To find out a lot more about it. But I was hoping you'd be able to shed light on the question I posed, which is that how long is this going to last? it's more than a pilot scheme, but what's the designated time after which you would have observed or you need to observe and will then be pronouncing emphatically, if that is to be the case, that no more Okada, no more Marwa?
Okay, for a start, we at LAMATA, we will continue this scheme not as a pilot scheme, but we will continue to roll it out regardless of what pronouncement comes. The state governor will look at what we have done, how it has impacted the people, how effective it has been in ensuring mobility for the people of Lagos. And he will make that decision. Him and his team they have a safety, security team that they have meetings regularly. But our job in LAMATA is to ensure that this scheme will be rolled out and it will ensure ease of mobility for the people. And it's not a pilot scheme, really. It is a scheme that will continue.
Okay.
And it's
that's important. Yeah. It's not a pilot.
It is not a pilot scheme.
It's a new scheme.
It's a new scheme. It's a first and last mile bus scheme that will be in Lagos forever, I hope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a development on the BRT.
Oh, yes, exactly.
It's a development on
so
the
like
BRT.
I said, it's the bottom of the bus reform initiative. So we have the BRT that moves on dedicated bus lanes, and then we have regular buses, medium and high capacity buses that move in mixed traffic, and then we have this one.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much because, as the governor there speaking about the bus reform initiative, it is a reform, and you'll be able to key into it, be part of it, actually work within it, ride within it from Monday. So I want to thank you very much, Engineer Abimbola Akinyajo. Oh, it's because Chris, good morning, Chris.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yes, the program going on is very encouraging.
Okay.
And the new development, and it shows that Nigeria can easily work if we have the right people in the right position.
Okay. Where are you calling from, Chris? Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from, Chris?
Yeah, I'm calling from UK.
Oh, okay.
Canby Island.
Okay. So you're phoning in to say you are encouraged by the strides being made in Lagos State, and you say you say it shows that Nigeria can indeed achieve.
Nigeria can actually work if we have the right people in the right position.
All right.
Because even the current commissioner of probation is a good friend of mine. We went to the same church before we relocated to Nigeria.
Okay, then.
So I know him very well.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling in, Chris. Appreciate your call. And I imagine you will as well, because, he's saying that he's proud of Lagos.
We're very
and it does indicate to him that we can, in Nigeria, achieve. So I was just really thanking you until they said, no, you got to take that call as well. Mrs. Abimbola Akinyajo, Managing Director, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transportation Authority. I got it.
Yes, you got there.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, then.
Thank you.
So as usual, just before I go, remind you, COVID-19, do everything you can to protect yourself. Mask up, wash your hands frequently, socially distance, and indeed the vaccine is a big part of it. I'm Yori Folani. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow for a fresh edition. Goodbye for now.